Hi, everyone. This is Ken Rakowski, Sandy Grigsby. Hello, Metal, and all the friends out there. Today, we are going to talk about, well, relationships, but in a different way. In a different way, because what we've realized with people popping in here saying, oh, wait a second, heterosexual couple, heterosexual, white heterosexual couple.
They call me white. That's so funny.
Most people don't know that your father is actually darker than Lonray.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Lonray, you have a very, very Caucasian light skin compared to her dad.
And he's part Native American. So I'm like multiracial.
Yeah, you got a lot going on there. And relationships are something we want to talk about. And today also we want to let you think, Nikolai, we want to let you know that we are the second most watched, what do you call it when people watch it later on? Not live. I don't know. Quigley's number one. You're recording. Quigley's number one. What do you want to call it? Replay. That's it. And today we want
number two because there's two of us.
Today is you guys are hanging out. You are part of what we're doing. And I want to let you know that. Jump in anytime. Today I want to talk about, are you ready for a relationship?
Yes.
I
am. I'm in one, and I've been ready.
But I realized I went through this and I questioned myself at different periods of time in our relationship.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I even looked at this saying, am I ready for a relationship even right now? Mm-hmm. Ooh, Sandy doesn't know the answer.
Yes, I do. But okay. I'll pretend like I don't.
So we wanted to go through that, wanted you guys to chime in. So today, I put the questions together so you could see them.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to ambush it.
And you're going to share this in the portal after.
I am going to share this in the portal. Last week's portal questions people love. We talked about questions you need to ask when you're on a date. And it could be a date, by the way, that you've been with the person 10 years. Because let me ask JD real quick. JD, what is your wife's favorite movie?
My wife is terrible at watching movies, but it's Pride and Prejudice.
Okay. What is your wife's go-to karaoke song?
My wife, I don't actually know if my wife has ever done karaoke. She actually doesn't listen to music.
Oh, what would it be?
What would it be? Probably Dancing Queen, maybe? I don't know.
That's good. I like your wife already.
Yeah. Sam, what is your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to... God, it would have to be something like maybe Living on a Prayer, or maybe Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Pour some sugar. Okay, got that.
Yeah.
Lonray, what would be yours?
Oh, wow. If I had to, and the drinks were flowing, it would be a song called If I Ever Fall in Love by a group called Shy.
Yep, I know that one.
You know it?
Yeah.
Can you hum it or sing it?
Sandy, give him a
because, black don't crack, so we have this connection.
How would that go, Lonray?
Oh my God. There's
and
not,
if I ever fall in love.
This would be
this
would be your go-to.
And Steve's on here too, so I dare to even attempt that song.
Stephen Harms, sing it for us.
Stephen, no, but what would be your go-to karaoke song, Stephen?
Don't Stop Believing. Journey.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Joette? Oh, you did a crazy one last week. It was like...
It wasn't crazy.
No, it wasn't crazy, but for me, it would have been crazy.
Fire and Desire. I remember that.
Not off the top of my head, I can't think of it right now.
What was it, Lonray?
It was Fire and Desire.
That's right. That's it. Because that's a good song, right?
Yeah.
All right, James.
Together singing that song.
James, go-to karaoke song.
I'm afraid to say I'm really bad at karaoke because I actually sing well.
But you get to pick a song. Hey, you know the story. I brought Akon over to a friend's house who has a karaoke system, right? And Akon was, and by the way, the person I was with has $1 million home karaoke system, and she has a karaoke coach, okay? And her go-to song is, dial my number, what is it?
Gosh, that one song that's like, call me maybe.
Yeah, Call Me Maybe, that's her go-to. So she had a karaoke coach to teach her how to sing Call Me Maybe. So I brought Akon over, and Akon was cruising out there, and he did some of her songs, and she was like amazed. She goes, wow, you're really good. I go, this is Akon. I mean, those are his songs.
She didn't know it was Akon.
Right.
She's just like, wow, you must do karaoke all the time.
So then 5 years ago, Robert Plant was in town. So I brought Robert Plant over to her house, right? Now, right, you know, he's kind of a mellow guy, actually. Kind of mellow. And I go, just do Stairway to Heaven. So he did karaoke doing Stairway to Heaven, right? And it was 11. It was amazing. And then this girl comes up to him, Robert Plant, not knowing who he is, and she goes, "Did you take karaoke lessons?"
That's a gem.
Yeah, that was a gem. So what would be your karaoke go-to song?
Addicted to Love, Robert Palmer. Robert Palmer.
6'1" and tons of fun, and I dress to a T. No, I'm not going to go there. All right. So today, Sugar Hill Gang, okay, Lon Ray? Just because I pledged the Q Dogs, I might have some funk somewhere in this trunk around here. I'm just saying, okay?
Okay. I've seen you dance.
Yeah, I know I'm bad. I am bad. I'm like a broken robot when I dance. Today's topic is, are you ready for a relationship? Lon Ray, are you ready?
I think I'm ready for the right relationship.
Yes. I like that. The right relationship.
How about you, Stephen Harms? Are you ready for a relationship?
Am I in for a relationship? I'm not sure that I know what a relationship is.
Ooh, that's a deep, deep position there. Sam, it looks like you're ready. You just got out of a crazy marriage, and now you might be thinking about going to something new. Sam, broadcast man.
Yeah, a year and a half ago, got out of one. It's still legally closing within the next few weeks. I'm ready to go. I didn't realize I was ready to go until I met the woman that I feel like I'm ready to go with. And then I was like, suddenly everything shifted. Like the idea was, maybe I'm not ready, which I think it's important to ask that question. I think it's also important to follow one's instincts when one senses, there's some alignment here. And not just have an idea, preconceived idea that it's not right because you've already decided that. You know what I mean? It's important to be able to follow one's intuition as well.
JD, how long have you been married?
This is 6 years.
6 years. How long did you date before?
2 years.
And was there any time during the 8 years where you go, maybe I'm going to go on my own path. I'm going to do a walkabout on my own. Or she may have said the same thing as so Jen by herself.
Not really. We were friends for 2 years before that. She was my best friend. So I think actually we transitioned from friends to dating because it was one of those, like, we kind of did that pre the like dating period.
The Harry Met Sally thing.
Yeah.
Right? Joette, you ready? Girl, you ready for a relationship? Just a yes.
Yeah, I'm not feeling my best today, but I am ready for a relationship. And I know because of the changes in my life and where I've grown, and I'm good.
I don't want to ask Mr. Golding because I know he's always ready for a relationship, but it's a different type of relationship we all would consider to be standard because his transcends time and space. Am I right? James?
James has a teleportation.
No, I'm very much of this world, and I think, but I think it will. I'm looking forward to this conversation because I think it may be a good idea to identify the kind of the types of relationships that we can engage in and the particular journeys that and stages of our journey that we're on.
Yes. Richard Burke, are you ready for a relationship?
Sometimes I think so, and sometimes I don't. I'm focused on just, making my impact in the world right now. That's the number one priority.
Before I ask him, would it be country, rock, or like, let's see, just pop for him? What do you think? So Richard, what do you think?
Part of me wants to say pop.
Yeah.
But I think he has
Classic
a secret
rock?
country thing.
No, okay. Richard, your go-to karaoke song, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't have one, and it definitely wouldn't be country.
Oh, you don't have any? Come on, just one song that you would just get up there and you would hold that fake microphone and sound like a star?
It's okay if it's achy breaky heart. We
It
won't
could
judge.
be.
Fat
I
Jim.
got friends in low places. Nope.
Nope.
Come on, what do you got, Burke?
I don't know right now.
It's
So,
not.
sorry,
It's
guys.
more of a shot through the heart.
Yeah, more rock,
To
definitely.
blame, baby. All right, here we go. These are ways to know if you're ready for a relationship. And by the way, if you're in a relationship, I ask you to see where you're in your relationship based upon these questions. The first one, you will be as good as you can as often as you can. Will you be a good person? Meaning, will your eyes stray? Will your heart go somewhere else? Are you ready to, and this is a tough one for guys. I'm just going to tell you, we're that lizard whose eye can actually go the opposite direction as the other one. So we're looking at this over here, even though we're looking directly at you.
A chameleon.
It's not, it's the thing from Madagascar.
Their
I know it's
eyeballs
called,
going differently.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like every guy that's really smart makes you think we're looking at you, but somehow we're looking at that. Just saying, I do it for fashion, just see if I like what they're wearing or what they're not wearing.
Women do the
Sure.
same. They're just more discreet about it.
Really?
Yeah.
You do? You really?
Yeah. Look at that girl in her bikini. Really, she's scouting the hot, ripped dude right next to her.
Ah, I got it. So
Look at what she's wearing. Oh my God, really? She's going like, oh my God, look at that guy. Oh.
So we get to look at the girl going, oh, I have an excuse now to check her out.
If you have a woman pointing
We
it
don't
out.
even know she has a guy next to her. We don't even
Exactly.
see it. It's
We
like,
see it all.
and then what we think is the minute you say, check out that girl, we're going threesome. Yeah, maybe there's a threesome there. That's what we're thinking right away. I'm just letting you know. It's almost like, Richard, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not. Okay, so would you be good? Are you ready to be good? Are you ready to be good? Landry, are you ready to be a good boy? Your penis goes everywhere. Are you ready to be a solo penis man?
Ooh, don't say
Solo
that.
penis,
Not you.
solo penis.
Landry, come on. You've gone to the orgy camp at Burning Man. What are you talking about?
I did. And
His past. His past.
this is recorded, right? Okay.
This is recorded.
No, yeah, I went to the orgy camp. Yes, I did do that. But also, I was not in a relationship. And when I was in a relationship, I was very, very, very loyal to that one person. And even after that relationship, I took a vow of celibacy. So, yeah. So, yeah, I'm absolutely ready again for the right relationship.
So,
also
in relationships, are you because I've gone through phases where I'm 100% into that person, and then I've gone through phases where it's like a scatter bomb. I'm everywhere, right? And even though I'm saying I'm in one relationship, I have all kinds of, I am all over the place. Because I can honestly say I am 100% committed to you.
Aww.
So much so that all my passwords, all that are yours, because I don't have fears, even though I do have that flip phone from like the 1990s.
Yeah, but we put that in a box. We don't look at that.
No, but I'm 100% committed, so I don't have fear knowing I'm not gonna go mess around behind you. I'm just not. But in other relationships, I did. So being a good boy, I can say, and maybe it's with age. Richard Burke, you have a wandering penis?
No, I've been married twice and never came close to cheating. In fact, it was like having a railing at the Grand Canyon, having a ring on my finger.
Oh, that's
So,
good. That's
I
really
had no problems walking up and being flirtatious or talking, communicating, because there was never anything going to happen. So
that must make your woman feel so safe and secure knowing that too. Meaning it's solid.
It depends on the woman, certainly, because some women, they see that and they feel threatened to a certain extent for their own reasons. So
how do you do that, JD, traveling around the world? Because in different parts of the world, being a tall man, women are going to approach you. I mean, I could take you to Indonesia. They would go nuts over you in Indonesia, right?
Man, that's crazy. My wife and I actually have traveled. She's been to 75 countries. I've been to 51 countries, and we've been to a lot of those together. But yeah, it's tough because, relationships in general, there's times when you really love the person and times when you just have to choose to love the person. And so it's, that's just what it is. But it's, it's the constant decision every day of just being like, this is the choice that I made, and we're going to stay the course even if it gets really rocky.
Aren't you at that 7-year itch?
Not yet. You know, I'm committed. It's there's still a lot of times when it's tough, but I think that's, you know, part of what, I don't know. I think the whole adage of iron sharpens iron. You know, the only way anything gets better is when it goes through the furnace. It's got to get refined and pured, and as it's, you know, all the impurities get to the top, it's got to get sloughed off. But that process is sometimes painful.
And is she a good communicator?
We're working on it. We both have our things that we're really good at and really not good at. She's probably a better communicator than I am, but we're still, you know, we're still figuring things out even after, you know, 6 years.
That's great that you're both working on it, though. That leads to a stronger relationship, because when one person's growing, the other person doesn't. I see this all the time because I do a lot of those self-help, self-development, personal development programs. And it's kind of an ongoing thing. The people who've been in it for a long time say, if you're doing the events and your partner's not doing them with you, you will end up at a division where you'll break up. And I've seen it happen time and time and time again, because one person's growing and the other person's staying where they are and they're going like this. So if you're doing it together, that's beautiful.
So podcast, super helpful.
One important thing, especially being a guy, we can't fix everything. We can't. Last night, you and I were having a discussion. It got a bit heated because I got emotional. I admit that. But I also said, I'm going to listen now.
Yes, you did.
And I just shut up. And that's probably the most important thing, because I wanted to fix or to challenge, but that wouldn't have corrected anything long-term. That was important. Okay, next question is this. And I realized this, and I said it to you in probably the wrong fashion, and that is, will you put someone else's interest ahead of yours? Meaning that relationship. When I told you I would give you my kidney if you needed it, to me, that's not my interest in it. I mean, I love you so much that whatever I have that's here and dear to my life, I will now give to you. I have not done that in other relationships. I would do it with my kids and my siblings, but externally, no. So that was the one way where I know I'm selfless with you. So are you ready for that? Let me ask Mr. Golden, are you ready to be selfless with somebody? James.
I don't believe in the idea of selfless. I think there's an equilibrium between being of self and also being interconnected with others. So I'm very much into the idea of being self-centered, which means centered and an equilibrium by which we can share and receive and give freely. So really, if I'm going to share with anyone, I want to share absolutely the best and optimized version of myself.
You know, I love you answer a question without really answering the question.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
Brilliantly done. Well put.
You should work for a political party. Not sure which one, but I'm just saying it's done so well. I don't know what you said, but I felt like I feel fulfilled.
It sounded really nice.
So can you ever have that type of love where you are selfless, saying whatever I have is yours? That's kind of the question.
Absolutely, it's an absolute possibility and an experience that I can.
Like with your brother. Your brother, you would. I'm guessing you would do anything for your brother, right?
If it aligns with what I believe in, the values that I have.
That's fair enough.
So I think obviously I know we want to get some answers that kind of fit neatly into a box.
No, not at all. That's why I called on you on this one.
That's why we took ourselves out of the corner. We were no longer in a box.
There's so many different situations and nuances, but yes, I believe in the concept of being able to give oneself freely and you know, and actually I think we all have our own small ego, but we've got a universal ego as well, and we can give the whole universe if we want to, wherever we are.
We have two Joettes.
Yeah,
Joette's popping in there all over the place. There's another Joette. You're like multiplying. Sam, you're about to potentially go into a new relationship, potentially. And we've gone to two things. One, you can be a good boy. You can be a good person. And two, can you literally be selfless? Are you ready to be selfless with somebody? Are you ready for that?
So to your first question, I personally find freedom within restraint.
Okay, elaborate on that.
that the structure, restraining oneself from following one's more sort of primitive tendencies, creates a different type of freedom than the freedom of having all possibility. So the idea, I think we tend to oftentimes orient towards the more the better, the more possibility the better, you know, the more options the better. I think that that's an incorrect way of seeing things. I think if you look at one option, there's a tremendous amount of freedom that comes from committing to that one choice. And so that's how I would answer the first question.
Okay.
The second question around selflessness. I err pretty much on the side of what King James just shared, where essentially I think it's important to have a strong sense of self in order to actually behave in what we would call a selfless manner. If I have my own needs met, then I can focus as much as possible on providing for another human being.
But don't you think there has to be sacrifice for yourself to make the other person's need met just as much?
I think that there has to be, the way I look at it is through energy. If your energy is getting depleted, you're sacrificing too much. If your energy is recycling and becoming more abundant, then you're doing what you need to do to take care of yourself and take care of that other person. It comes back to that classic analogy of the oxygen mask. You know, if I don't have the energy, if I'm giving of myself and I don't have that to give, but I'm trying to give it anyway, I'm depleting my energy from the relationship. She's going to feel it. She's going to resent me for it because I'm not taking care of myself. So and I've done this in relationship. My last marriage, I did a lot of this, giving more than I had to give because I just wanted to give. I come from my heart. I just wanted to support. Let's do this together. Let me see what I can do for you. And I realized I was destroying myself in that process.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, Ken, that sacrifice is really the
It's
thing.
the wrong word. It's the wrong
Yeah,
word.
that's not the thing that women need in a relationship. They need strong leadership.
Yes, thank you. Amen to that.
Yes. You want to go up to the next one right here? You're going to love that one.
I don't know which one you're pointing to.
You understand the importance
Oh.
of?
Communication.
Yeah, you understand the
Font's too
importance.
tiny.
Lonray, let me ask you a very interesting question. Knowing you for a decade, when you get heated, how do you turn off? What do you do when you get heated in a challenging position? What do you walk away? Do you become more intense? Because I think communication, as we evolve, gets better and fine-tuned if we pay attention to what we do. That's the way we escape. So what do you do? So what do you do when you get heated?
Well, I used to be, it used to be flight for me. I gotta get out of here. I gotta leave. I'll come back later, you know, when cooler heads prevail. But sometimes I realize that that's not always the best solution, especially if you're in a committed relationship, because you're literally leaving the relationship for that period of time. So instead, what I will do next time, no, I'm just kidding, but what I've learned to do is to pause, right? To be still. And if it's in the situation, I try to take a breath, take a step back, and get the other person to focus on what's most important. I'll stop by saying, hey, look, I love you. I believe you love me. How can we best make sure that we hear each other and understand each other and get to a solution, knowing that we're both coming from the same position of love for each other? So once we realize that it's not about this little issue that's in front of us right now, it's really the love, and we're coming from a place of love, it's not hard to then get to a solution and realize that
sounds awesome. You're going to be able to do that in the next relationship?
I have to. If I can't, then that's not the right relationship, and I'm going to have to go again.
How about you, Joette? What do you do when you get heated? What has been your past thing? Do you
my past was
Yeah.
not good.
No?
My past was not good because look at the family I come from, a fighting Italian loudmouth family. And so that was not good. What I've come to now is I speak less, I listen more, and I want to have an understanding on what they're trying to convey. And when he says Long Ray says something about, well, I love you, and don't tell me that. Let's get to the point. I'm black and white. Let's get to the point. Let's get to the nuts and bolts, find out the reason why, and let me see where I land in this conversation. That way I can.
The more I get to know Joette, the more I find you're so deep and awesome. You're an amazing person. You really are, Joette.
Thank
You
you.
really are. Wow.
It's taking a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh, hey, when you're over 30, that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
You want to try to grab the next one right here?
You've got some semblance of a path in life.
Every woman wants a man to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Do you find, JD, because things have changed with you in the last 24 hours, haven't they? They have changed. Can you share with us what just changed the last 24 hours with you?
Yeah, so for the last 5 years, I've been running a good portion of the production for Uber, and I got laid off yesterday. So it's a new adventure. I kind of look at it though as a stepping stone to the next thing. So it's it's an unfortunate moment, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, it's time to wake up early and keep going.
Yeah, you wake up unemployed every day, which is kind of exciting too.
Congratulations on your new freedom.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Congratulations on your new freedom.
Thank you. It's I think actually the tough part is it's more challenging for my wife than it is for me.
That's what I would figure.
Yep, because you're now around more.
No, actually the security of it. So for her, she's like, oh, it's consistent. I know where the money's coming from. I know all that. And I'm like, before going to Uber, I was freelance. And so, and I love that. I was like, the amount of money I can make is 100% contingent upon the amount of work I want to put in. And for her, very corporate upbringing, dad worked at Disney for 30 years, a lot of very structured, specific things. She works at Google. So it's like, these really big masthead companies. And I'm just like, man, I want to build something. I don't really care if it's got a big name attached to it. I want to build something that those big names want to use.
Yeah, the security part is important for women, for you to have a purpose in doing something. So that could be fearful for her too. I mentioned for you being around more because women like to be in their free time too. I love medal days.
She likes Saturday because that's her time. It's like, all right, I am gone on my own. And I know it's true, but I think it's a great thing. And I recognize that it's important for you to have that free time. But I think path is important. Let's talk about this real quick. And I'm looking at the guys here. I know, Richard, you're pretty solid. You have your path. When you wake up in the morning, you have your career, your job. You have that visible path, correct?
It's changed because I was furloughed 3 weeks ago, and so that's changed too. But it'll be fine. It's just a different reality we're operating in, and so you have to go back to being, for me, acting as an entrepreneur and taking control over your deadlines.
Yeah, a hunter. Yeah. You're a hunter.
Really important.
But
by the way, going back to your question to Lanre, I think it depends in the heat of the moment whether you're being heard, what an appropriate reaction is. Sometimes it is appropriate to leave if you're being disrespected.
Okay, let's touch upon that just for a moment. I realize my past is to fix right away. Like, let's get this resolved, because the minute I walk away, I'm not in control anymore. And that's probably what a guy would think right away. I'm not in control, so let's fix this now. And then in a woman's place, it's like, I need to think about this. I need to look at this at every angle to see how it affects me, my life, my surroundings, if it's a family, if it's a home. And they're looking at it in a multi-process level. They're playing chess in 3D.
And how we're feeling about it.
Mm-hmm. Us guys, it's like, got it. I think I get it. Let's fix it. And that's probably not the right approach either.
No, but you described in the heat. So the heat means to me that you are engaged in this. And if, she's being emotional, that's fine. You can listen to that. But if it's coming out as disrespect, you need to stop that.
But it may not be disrespect. It's challenging. Let's put it that way.
I don't have a problem with challenge.
I've never called you a name. I would never disrespect you. You
course
would never do that either. But what happens is we know that things that might pop up that could be hurtful, but not disrespectful. Because
Well,
let's
that's
just
why
face
I
it.
drew the distinction that I did, disrespect. I've been I've had that in a relationship where the discussion has denigrated to disrespect, and I will disengage then.
It does amaze me where in a lot of times, and it's not just you, honey, it could be anyone, where if we're asking a question, you go, oh, I forgot about that. I don't remember that. But in an argument, you seem to remember everything, every nuance from any point in history for every second.
Oh, I know.
And you're
I do.
able to bring it back up like
with
quantum level.
precise detail,
Yeah.
like
Y
dinner was standing in
chromosome
the kitchen
trait.
and the trash can got stuck and we found a rat poop. And on the
No!
left side of the stove right there. Okay. That's the moment you
Okay.
said.
Okay, here he goes. Again, ways you know you're ready for a relationship. I want you to read the next one because I think you just did a segue. What is it right here, the very top one?
You can let the little things slide. Yeah. Yeah, that's important to let the little things slide. But it's also important to address the really big things that are holding you up so they don't come back later. Because the worst thing is harboring things and then spitting it out later in another situation and just making the situation entirely worse. So
Yeah,
let the
the
little things
harbor.
slide, but the big things that are really eating at you, get them off your chest,
Yeah,
say
but
them. But say them in the right way.
But don't you think the little things do amount to big things after a while?
It just depends on what the little things are.
Like JD, going back to you, buddy, you're the married one in this group, okay? There's got to be things after a while. You're together 7 years. There's things you got to go, she still does that.
Yeah. My wife, cleanliness is not a virtue.
So well put. Bravo.
So how do you just remind or you just pick up?
It's a little bit of both. Depends on what it is. Like if it's her work area, I'm just like, hey, you need to clean this up because I'm not going to I'm not going to clean her office where she's at. But if it's like making the bed, those kind of things that just like, I can't function if it's not organized in that sense. Like, I work in the bedroom, so I'll make the bed, I'll get it perfect and pristine and like make the space. But there's a lot of reminding that goes on.
Okay. So just to point something out here, if you've read the book by Dr. Daniel Amen, Change Your Brain,
Yes.
Change Your Life.
Amen's great.
Yes. Part of her not being clean might actually be something wrong with her brain. And that is something that could be repaired with diet, sleep. There's a bunch of things. So listen to his book because he actually talks about people who are too clean versus people who are messy. And it might be something actually going on in the brain. So before we get on our partners and blame them for all the stuff that they do that makes you bananas, this might be something that is completely out of their control. So to get on them and say, clean this or do that or fix this isn't even fair because it's something that they have to change in their brain. So
Sleep's a big deal. Sleep's a big deal.
It's a good check. Thank you.
By the way, regarding sleep, tomorrow night at 7.
He's having a sleepover party.
I'm
only I'm invited.
Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, is with us, and he is pretty amazing. He can really talk about how to amplify your brain because of sleep. Letting things slide. I think it's tolerating and realizing that there are certain things, they're not that important.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal.
That's true.
Pick your battles.
What, pick your battles?
Yes.
Like I have this thing towards anything that's on, like if there's like a little something hanging here, it drives me freaking crazy.
You know those little seaweeds that you eat and they come in a little package, they make teriyaki flavor, whatnot. I love to eat them and then leave a little bit right
Oh my God, does that drive me crazy?
And you see a little bit of seaweed, like, it's my favorite.
She knows, and I've just learned to go, all right, I'm starting to ignore it, which is building my I don't know.
You gotta have fun with this guy, otherwise he'll be so tight.
Well, then that's the next one. We're talking about ways you are ready for a relationship. Are you ready to accept somebody for who they are? This is a challenge. Wait, this is a challenge. Let me explain. I could see who they can be, not just who they are.
Yes.
So when I look at somebody, I go, boy, I see all of these great things. And what's the old saying? Men don't want their women to change, and women want their men to change.
Yes. Well, women see the potential.
Right. I see the potential in both men and women.
Yes.
I look at a guy, I look at like Harak, who's on here with us.
Hi, Rob.
Harak is amazing. I've talked to him, I've seen him, we've gone on hikes. I know what his potential is. I really do, buddy. I'm being serious. Even on that one hike we went on in Malibu, and we were talking, you're talking about you doing beats and talking about the things that you're working on, the cannabis side of things. I started hearing the bigger man that you're going to become. That's what I heard. When I look at a woman, I could see the same thing, right? And you do the same thing. You can see if they fix their hair up, they have different posture, if they, the biggest problem with women guys, especially when they get older at my age, they forgot that they still put makeup on the same way they did when they're in their 20s.
That happens.
No, I'm being serious, Lon, right? No one has helped them elevate themselves to the next level to taking things the proper way. So makeup and dress. Why are you laughing, Joette? I'm telling you, she's the one who told me this.
I'm older than you.
Joette, you have trained with a professional. So for you, it's a different story.
I'm older than you, but here's the thing. This is why I've been married twice. And my first husband and I are like two peas in a pod. He will always be honest with me. When I took those pictures and I showed him the pictures, he goes, nice. I go, nice. I go, why just nice? I go, look at it again. He goes, nice. The reason it's just nice is because he thinks I'm beautiful no matter what. Makeup, no makeup. He loves me in any way. He's seen me grow. Both of us have grown a lot, and we work together a lot on a lot of things. But when you have that kind of respect and that kind of rapport with somebody, it's just, and I'm good. And with the, what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
Why aren't you still with him?
Okay, so both husbands weren't the best. So I've known him since I was 14 and I'm 55 in September. He cheated on me. And my second husband was just really abusive. So, you know, when the man, Scott, I think is Sam says you pour out and you pour out and you pour out, that's me. I pour out and pour out and pour out. And then finally, the last marriage, when the doctor said you're going to have a heart attack and die, I said, you know what? Step back.
Or in.
Go on my own. Yeah. So
But you're ready now.
it's been over 5 years. I've been divorced for over 5 years.
You're ready now. And you have communication with him. That's great.
Me and my ex-husband talk all the time. My first husband. My second one doesn't like me too much because I left both of them, but it is what it is. He'll get over it. He's remarried. He remarried a year after we separated or split up. I'm good.
All right. Here's the next question. This one's for you, Stephen Harms. You don't look for someone to complete you.
Nah.
Was that a question?
Yep.
Are you saying that I don't look for
No,
someone?
are you ready to find someone who's not there to complete you? Because I think, by the way, I did not look towards you saying, oh my God, you complete me.
I'm not your mini-me.
No, that's the thing. Are you looking, like in your last relationship, did she complete you? Did she make you the best man ever? Was she because that's where I think men fail and women fail. They go, oh, I got to have that person because now I'll be whole.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't think I think about it in terms of whether we get completed by the other person. I think about it more in terms of I know what I need to do in myself to be complete in life, and I want to be with somebody that agrees with that and wants to be complete in life the same way.
So I wrote this right here. It says only someone can accept somebody if they feel like together you're completed, not you're completed. Meaning you and I are a great couple.
You have to be your own independent best
Absolutely, because you're going to do things that I would never do, and that's not something I'm going to incorporate. No,
He
it's
would
true.
never go to the gynecologist.
Never.
Right off the list.
Not at
I
all.
don't believe that. I think he would.
I would have work up to my elbows. Okay. But I would never, ever do any of that. But I'm just saying there's certain things that Sandy does that. And by the way, I celebrate her doing that on her own. I don't want to be with her friends. I want her to be with her friends. No, being serious. But I like that you do that. Actually, it's funny. You have so many metal Zoom gates with a lot of things.
I have dates with metal members.
Yeah.
And we get on Zoom and we have fun.
Actually, they're almost all gay guys.
That's beside the point.
What
They're
they
still
called?
metal members.
She calls them gates. I got a gate tonight.
I love them. I have wonderful gates. They're the best guys ever. The gay metal guys are some of my BFFs.
20% of metal is gay. Isn't that awesome? I think it's cool.
Them.
Yes.
They have awesome advice. They're fun to talk to. They've got wonderful attitudes, great perspectives. You guys should all hang out with them more.
Okay. I'm going to go Richard Burke. Are you happy being single?
Yes.
So you're satisfied? You could continue doing this?
I'm good either way.
Really? You're indifferent?
I like that though.
Yeah,
Independent.
yeah, and because like in your other question, to me, it's not about being complete, nor is it about trying to want to change somebody. For me, it's about being inspired by the person that you're with.
Inspired, and that's an important one. That's actually part of your rules.
And I think it's important to be inspiring first.
Yeah, and you have rules when it comes to finding your next partner. Inspiration is one of them, being inspired. The other one's being challenged.
I have extreme intelligence. I have, beauty, health in terms of a lifestyle. Some of these are the things that are on my list. Fitness.
You want nice elbows, I think you said too, right?
Yeah, something like that. Nice elbows. Yeah, and I do have my my karaoke song, by the way.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, what is it?
It's "Walk on the Wild Side."
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Hey, babe.
By the way, I want you to analyze the words and really read about it. You probably won't want to sing it as much as you do, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, I know what they are. I got it.
I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Sam, do you enjoy being single? Wait, do you enjoy?
Yes.
You enjoy being single?
I enjoy it. I enjoy being single, and I enjoy being in a functional and loving relationship as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I see it is, in a certain way, we are always going to be single, even when we are in relationship. And if we can hold that, if we can keep holding our autonomy throughout, and get that the relationship is not 50% here and 50% here, it's 100% here and 100% here, creating a more beautiful and interesting combination, rather than looking at it as one half and another half coming together. I think we have to look at it as two wholes. It's throughout life. I think we have to take out the attachment part in order to have the self-respect we need to be able to really harmonize together. And that's totally possible. I think the whole notion that we complete each other is based in 18th century romantic literature. And it's really what it is. It's not something that it's romanticism.
It's Disney.
It's not
Disney movies, Sam.
What's that?
It's Disney movies.
It's Disney movies, exactly. It sells tickets because people are looking for something to fill that void inside of themselves. And my perspective is, it's up to us to fill that void inside of ourselves every moment of every day. We can never rely on someone to fill a void inside of ourselves. We can only do that through self-love. And if we cultivate that self-love every day, then we keep having something to show up to the relationship with. If we don't, and we're relying on that other person to love us where we're not loving ourselves, that's a recipe for disaster.
So true.
By the way, also, while I'm thinking of it, this is hardly anyone knows about this book. It's called On Caring by Milton Maroff. And it's a book that was written back in the mid-70s. And it's the only book that I know of. It's a very small book, but it's a philosophical, psychological discourse on or manifesto on the subject of caring and what caring actually is and what it isn't. And it's really fascinating. It's well worth picking up from Amazon.
And who's the author? By Milton whom?
Maroff.
Milton Maroff.
Hold it up again.
There you go.
Perfect.
Rock, I'm going to ask you.
Thank you.
Do you like being single? Rock,
Yeah, sorry.
do you like being single?
I do. I've been married and divorced and single for 3 years now. And dating is tough. And it's so crazy. The relationship that I got into and I got married was right before the whole online dating with Tinder and all that thing kind of blew up. And then when I came out of it, it was like full blown. All my single friends were like raving about it. And I just hated it. It was just like, this isn't for me. I'm a very personable person. I want to meet people in person. But I feel like there's too many distractions right now to have like a genuine connection with people. People are even swiping right and left in person, and you see that, you know? And so I've in the last 3 years gone very, very deep within myself. And as Sam was saying, found loving and caring for myself so that I can, the next relationship that I do get into, that I can come into it more of as a man with a lot of deep empathy and
Beautiful, step up.
and understanding.
I just want to say, it's not about enjoying being single. I enjoy sharing. So when I'm alone, it's like if I discover something, I can't wait to take you there to show it to you. It's something I found. And even in my past relationship, if something was amazing in my past of a discovery, I still want you to see it. I'm not jealous of my past relationship of seeing it. I want to re-experience it with you. I enjoy sharing those experiences, and I don't want to just do it by myself. And maybe that's the nurturing side of me that always wants to make sure we're always seeing things together, and you're discovering something and showing me. So I like that. Two heads are better than one type of attitude. And I feel that all the time. All right, here's the one that was a challenge for me. Here's the one that was the biggest challenge for me. Are you ready? I'm gonna have you read it. It's the second from the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Your ex is no longer a factor. That's a big deal, and that was a big deal for him.
Yeah, it was a big deal. So my ex, Maya, still pops up constantly. And the biggest problem with my ex wasn't just emotional, it was financial. Mm-hmm. She basically would always put the purse strings over me going, if you break up, you have no financial issues anymore. They're all gone. And often at times it was in my mind going, wow, because being the breadwinner, and JD, in your mind, you're thinking, all right, where's your next paycheck coming from? Because you have to now create it. You're fortunate to have your wife who makes money at Google. That's great. I had millions and millions of dollars that was departed from me in the separation, the breakup. So it wasn't just emotional, it was survival. And in my mind, I looked at you, I go, you're worth that times X. But you know that. And
it was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. And that made it very, very difficult. And was my ex a factor? That's why she was a factor. It was, I missed the comfort of what my relationship allowed me to have. The comfort, and that is never worrying about any type of money in any way. That was, so a strange way of getting, not to the point regarding my ex because I wanted to have sex with her or sleep with her or be with her. It was more of a security because of her situation, which I had to create myself. So that's it right there. And I'm wondering, Joette, since you have two exes still floating around, they're not issues.
My first one's my best friend. And my second one, no. And I probably didn't do the smartest thing, but when I left both marriages, I walked away with nothing except for most of the bills. Yep. I took most of the bills and I walked away carrying everything.
I did that too.
I did that too.
But you know, and my first husband, he's amazing.
Wow, you guys should be good.
I did the same thing.
Same thing?
Completely.
You walked away with all the bills and everything?
I walked away. I think you've heard the story before. I made an agreement with her. I said, if you want a divorce, I want three things. I go, I never want to see the inside of a courtroom. I never want to talk to a lawyer. And I want to be able to see my kids as much as I want, whenever I want, for the rest of my life. And if you give me those three things, then I will walk away and I will give you everything.
How's your ex now? Is she like moving forward? Would she get in the way of your relationship moving forward?
No, she wouldn't get in the way of relationships. For 3 years after we were divorced, all of my paychecks continued to go to her, and I would ask her for money every month. But she's shown that she'll take care of the kids, which is really all I wanted. Mm-hmm. In terms of the relationship that we have now, I feel like she has too much control over the kids. But I feel like
they live with her. They live with her.
Yeah, but I do believe that they're in good hands. The man that she's with now is a really good man, and he really loves the kids, and he's really been a godsend. He's really been a huge relief that he's there to help her take care of the kids. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like for her during COVID if she had been at the house by herself with all four of the kids.
Good to have that security.
And yeah,
We have one more question after this. Don't go away. Don't leave. We want to finish this up with you guys. I got to tell you what she did, which was amazing.
What did I do?
Well, so I had my current ex, who we and then my ex-wife. And my ex-wife was an economic drain. I had no money now, economic drain, and my kids are with my ex. And so what Sandy did is she just didn't diffuse that bomb. She found a way into my heart and into my ex's heart to make us all friends again. Actually, so much so to where I talk to, like Joette, I talk to my ex almost every day. We have a great relationship. We took her on a trip with us. We went to Tulum and we took my ex with us to Tulum. And
Ex-wife,
ex-wife,
not ex. The other
ex-wife.
ex was not a wife.
Yeah.
She was just an ex.
But we paid for everything. We took her to Tulum and took care of her. But now,
some clarity there.
so that's not just diffused. It's become actually an asset in child raising. Like my son now lives here with us, and my daughter's there who needs a lot of help. But that's because she's a teenage girl and she looks like she's 25 years old. She's got all the wrong curves in the right places right now.
Yeah, by the way, that was one, for me, the most impressive thing about your birthday a year ago was when Sandy made that arrangements to have your ex speak so kindly of you in that, and to see that she generated that speaks volumes for Sandy.
Thank you, Richard.
So when you say, does your ex have an issue now, or do you have an ex with your issue, or issue with your ex? I don't anymore. I mean, I do with issues regarding my ex, not my ex-wife. My ex-wife has become a good friend, but it's so interesting because I feel sad for people that get in relationships. They go, oh, they have baggage. And the baggage might be the ex, or it could be the parents, right? Or it could be things like religion. It could be all these. So the baggage that comes into a relationship, my God, that can be challenging.
Yeah.
It really could.
The best thing I did was fix him up so he would leave me alone. He just kept wanting to get back, and I'm like, yeah, no. So I have a girl for you to go out with. Take her out to lunch. I didn't say marry her. I just said take her out to lunch.
Wow.
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, our last one. Ways you are ready for a relationship. Are you ready to blend your life into someone else's? This is so interesting. I've noticed in most relationships, and by the way, JD, you know Akash and Danny, you have drivers in different phases of their life and passengers to go along with the driver, and then they switch. Sometimes they're the driver. Like, for example, when you become the driver in your space, and that can be in literature and culture, anytime you want to do something with design, you are the driver. I'm certainly a passenger. But when we go into uncharted territories and places, you allow me to become the driver and you become the passenger. And I think in a great relationship, that needs to go back and forth. The passenger and the driver, and feel comfortable with that. And blending. So we got this great house. And in most relationships, the new partner does not want to go into the house of the ex-partner's house because of all the history or bad feelings. And the first thing Sandy said is, okay, we'll go to your house. I'll move out. I got this killer. She's got this killer place she had in Santa Monica. I'll take all my furniture. We'll sage the house first to get rid of all the evil spirits.
That was fun. We were running through the house, burning sage. All the fire alarms started going off. We're like fanning.
Yeah, it was a lot of sage. It was like a little forest fire sage. And then she allowed herself to blend into here. And that was a huge deal for you. And it really was. And I recognized that. And so what I did is I said, I am now a passenger in my house. You take control. And that was really important.
It looks really good now.
It looks great. But I think what happens is a lot of people say, nope, can't change. You have to fit in my life, and that's it. And that's where things really get affected in a bad way. You know, and Sam, I know you're going through something brand new. You met this girl on a virtual dinner date. And I'm guessing that you're such an open man, you've shared everything with her about you, right?
Yeah. Anything that she wants to know, I'm an open book.
Yeah, but make sure an open book doesn't mean she asks the right questions. You give all of the information, even what wasn't asked at times too. That's the tough thing. Because us guys are great at being interviewed. Ask me a question. Just don't ask me about any of these things. And
I've learned to be comfortable with vulnerability. I've learned to really embrace vulnerability. And I know that if there's something that I don't want to share, that it's a great sign to just be with it and be, and share.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. And it's like that thing where every time there's a vulnerable moment, it feels like you're going to drop off a 100-foot cliff, and it turns out it was only 6 inches.
Yes.
And it's like, oh wait, that's all. Oh, okay. It's just, now it's out there. Now it's been exposed, and there was nothing that ended up happening. In fact, now there's a deeper connection. Now there's more connection than there was before. And so I think it's not the thing that we should be afraid of. It's not expressing the thing. It's that feeling that there's going to be something. It's has nothing to do with our adult selves. It has to do with the wounded child that lives within us, that still thinks that we have to show up as perfect for people, otherwise we're going to be outcast, alienated, etc.
So true.
Think about that, James.
Amen.
You right with that? Because I think you and Sam should be starting a church together. All right?
I would love to start a church with King James.
What's your thought on that, King James? Can't hear you, buddy. Can't hear you.
I wouldn't use the sort of the limited religious definition of a church. I think
movement.
Absolutely, movement. Based on universal principles. Sorry, what was the question?
Doesn't matter.
I must say, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. It's been a wonderful journey. I think we've got quite a few deep and integrated thinkers here. So we've kind of opened up some and thank you, Ken and Sandy, for being so transparent in many ways and holding us to account and being sometimes quite personal with our individual matters.
It was awesome, guys.
Ken and Sandy, I just want to acknowledge the two of you, because there's an evolution that I've seen, and I don't know you very well, Sandy. Of course, I'm just meeting you. But I've now known Ken for several years, and I see a softening that is occurring with you, Ken, that is just absolutely beautiful to witness in the past several months, and a softening and an opening, and you feel more relatable to me than ever before. And so I know that is because of the two of you and what you're creating together. So I want to acknowledge both of you for everything that you're creating.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Sam. That means a lot.
So guys, invite your friends in next week. We're going to build this out a little more. You're going to see more people that are amazing, like Joette, who is here as a friend of Sandy's, who's awesome. And we're going to have just a bigger audience here. Open this up to friends every Tuesday, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's not just about couples, it's about relationships. And that's what it is. And that could be personal and business too. And we'll dive into that. And JD, welcome to Metal. It's good to have you as a brand new Metal member. It really is. And everyone, we'll see you all next week.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.